Exactly. We're going to go from Kathmandu to Deurali. Check it out. Dawa and I had been enjoying the sights and sounds of Kathmandu for a number of weeks following the 2007 Everest Freestyle Expedition Southside Base Camp Trek. But it was finally time to get out of the city and back into Nepal's wilderness. What better place to head than the remote village of Dawa's birth? How does one begin a trip like that? Take the bus. Our journey began by boarding the Super Express bus from Kathmandu to Jiri.
Super Express bus, okay.
Kathmandu is the most developed city in the country of Nepal and is home to almost 1 million people. The government of Nepal estimates Kathmandu's population to be in the neighborhood of 700,000 people, but locals will tell you there are more than 2 million. It's not hard to imagine why there might be confusion amongst the ostensible chaos. Nepal enjoyed being the last Hindu kingdom on earth until its monarchy was gently ousted from their position in late spring of 2008. The oligarchy has been replaced with a Maoist government, and the rest will be an interesting history. Jiri is the town where most Everest expeditions started, prior to the building of the airstrip at Lukla. Climbers used to spend 3 weeks trekking into Everest Base Camp, usually starting in Jiri. With the convenience of flying to Lukla, Jiri has returned to its humble roots, as not nearly as many foreign tourists frequent its streets.
Yes.
Yes.
Typical street scene in Jiri.
Sherpa culture is alive and well in Jiri. On our first night, we found ourselves staying in a Sherpa guest house, drinking tea and eating dal bhat. I hadn't been to my village in over 5 years. We had 10 days and thousands of meters up and down in front of us before we would reach my family's home. Philsar reminded me that he wanted to go slowly and enjoy everything, and I was excited to take him to where I was born. We were about to walk through some place where not many trees travel anymore, and it was monsoon time, which meant rain.
Once we left Jiri, we were to be on a feet-only journey. We were not to see much in the way of motorized vehicles, beyond one tractor and one motorcycle, for the next 10 days. We were well on our way to Shangri-La. The first few days of the trip saw us travel over suspension bridges that were installed by Gurkha soldiers about the time that those of us in the Western world were worrying about the Y2K bug. I can say with confidence that the people we are about to visit weren't too concerned about such things, nor are they ever likely to be. We witnessed the simple country life of many ethnicities of Nepal, and I was slowly introduced to the ways and cultures of the Sherpa.
Blacksmiths were shipping metal tools, which Philsar found quite interesting. Meanwhile, Philsar connected to the world with his satellite equipment and computer, which the local found very exciting and new. Once a year in the monsoon season, people from the hillside bring their potatoes to sell in the village. They use the money they earn to buy necessary things like salt, sugar, and clothing.
After some good food and sleep in a quiet little riverside village, we carried on, marching through the sodden streets and eventually up some very muddy trails.
We trekked with the porters carrying huge load. Some of them would travel with these goods for 10 to 14 days, so they could sell these things in Namche Bazaar. They climbed up and down many hills from village to village, resting and enjoy the tea house along the way.
Before we began our excursion, Dawa told me we would be climbing into the clouds on a daily basis.
This is the night insect.
and likely almost always enjoying humidity. He referred to it as very wet, up and down, up and down, up and down. He warned me that the trip would be much less comfortable than the trek we had just completed from Lukla to Everest Base Camp, and we'd be cruising by people who rarely saw Westerners. Perfecto. That's exactly the type of experience I was looking for. The porters we shared the route with were small but powerful, and the folks in the tiny households we passed got a good chuckle about Gaylu walking very officiously with my Pelican laptop case. As night fell, we were thankful we had our Surefire prototype headlamps, which functioned perfectly despite the heavy rain. Eventually, we settled into the darkness of a little Sherpa guest house.
The morning came fast, and I was happy to tell Pilsar we were finally in the real Sherpa country.
Deurali is exemplary of a town that is inhabited almost exclusively by Sherpa people. One can see Buddhist influence in the architecture, numerous Mani stones, mandalas, and chortens.
Mani stones are prayer stones that are made by monks. In Sherpa culture, people are always cremated after death. Chorten are grave stone where we put the ashes of people who have died.
Mandala means circle in Sanskrit. These inspired creations remind us that we are part of an infinitely spinning cosmos. In Deurali, brightly colored guest houses surround these Mani stones.
These houses are made of local wood and stone, and there is always a fire burning in the kitchen.
I am fascinated by Mani stones, and I was to learn that there is an etiquette associated with movement around them.
When Sherpa pass by this stone, we always travel with them to our right side, and we go around them in clockwise direction.
I was to try my best to follow this rule as we marched deeper into the world of the Sherpa and towards the cowsheds of Dawa's village.
TV. I'm Phil Michael.
And I'm Chris Stanko. See you next time.
Later on.